on the road. His ERA more than a run better at home than away from Arlington.
Well, he has become a fly ball pitcher in that a lot of times his curveball, he throws it at different speeds and he gets the hitters off balance. They hit a lot of fly balls, and it works pretty well for him here in this ballpark. But he has a good fastball, good curveball. He throws a cut fastball, and he will throw an occasional change.
Tomorrow's scheduled pitchers, if the Rangers win tonight, are Orlando Hernandez for the Yankees and John Burkett for the Rangers. But Johnny Oates said that if they stay alive with a Game 3 win, he would consider bringing Todd Stottlemyre back on short rest, his Game 1 pitcher. Knobloch takes a ball. The plate umpire is John Hirschbeck, who has a notoriously wide strike zone.
If you watched all the other games, I think all the umpire strike zones have widened out a little bit here in the playoffs.
And there's a strike. Larry McCoy has first base. The crew chief Dave Phillips is at second. Chuck Merriweather took ill. Dale Scott is at third instead of Merriweather, and there's only one outfield umpire. It's Joe Brinkman, who's stationed on the left field line, working with a 5-man crew. 2-1.
Bob, you brought up a very good point there, and that's the fact that the middle of the Yankee order has not hit. But that just tells you how good a ball club they are. Most teams have to have the middle of their order hit for them to be successful, and Texas has not had that, but the Yankees have been able to win even without their big guys hitting. Let's take a look at the defense and the change there in center field. There's Tom Goodwin's going to be out there in center field. He only made 3 errors in 150 ball games this year.
And the 2-2 pitch. He went around and he's gone.
But it's a fastball that tails in. Knobloch does go. You can see he doesn't check his swing until he'd already completed it around the third base. So good call there by home plate umpire John Hirschbeck.
Knobloch asking his hitting coach, Chris Chambliss, whether he went around. He thought he didn't, but clearly the call was correct by John Hirschbeck. Jeter is 0 for 5 with a couple of walks through the first 2 games. The Yankees hit 207 home runs this year, second most in team history after the 1961 club, but did it with no one hitting more than 28. That backs up your point about being able to get it done without a contribution in certain games from the heart of the order. They had 10 different players in double figures in home runs, including Jeter, who smacked 19. Seeley falls behind him 3-0.
And it's interesting, all of a sudden, the last two pitches to Jeter, he has aimed the ball. He's not just letting it go. Now there's better. See, that's better. If you watch him, when he really just lets the ball go, he seems to have better control. The other one's like he was trying to spot the ball.
Full count. Seeley is 28 years old, 6'5", 215. Born in Golden Valley, New Mexico, lives now in Kirkland, Washington. They're roaring on the 3-2 pitch, which is fouled away. Seeley won 6 of his last 7 decisions to finish 19-11. Made the All-Star team for the first time in his career this year. To second base, McLemore. Does he have time to recover? He does.
Well, Jeter's not so sure he was out at first base. McLemore lets this ball play him. He just blocks it, jumps on it, fires to first, and he is out. Larry McCoy gives the right hand. Let's take a look from this angle. You get a better look at Jeter's foot touching the bag. Jeter had a right to be upset. He thought he was safe, and
it looked like he was. Strike one to O'Neill. Up and in, a ball and a strike. An asymmetrical ballpark here. A lot of nooks and crannies. Are there any places that just have nooks or only have crannies? Or do nooks and crannies always go together?
Well, that's the new style ballpark. You know, Bob, Paul O'Neill to me is the most underrated player on this entire field tonight. I mean, this guy just goes up there. He knows how to hit. He knows how to get himself into a hitter's count, get a pitch to hit. Very rarely does he not have a good swing at a pitch. He gets at least one good swing every at bat.
2-2.
And a lot of people may not do that. He'll take that pitch away, which is strike two, because that wasn't the location he was looking for. A lot of other hitters are afraid to get into a two-strike count, but it doesn't bother him.
McLemore again. And Seeley works a perfect first. Games of this series, they're hitting 156. Held to 5 hits in each of the first 2 games at Yankee Stadium. And even more tellingly, their big four of Greer, Gonzalez, Clark, and Rodriguez are a combined 4 for 31. So they wasted good pitching performances from Todd Stottlemyre and Rick Helling in the first 2 games, holding the Yankees first to 2 and then to 3 runs, but it wasn't enough as they themselves managed only 1.
Well, there you see David Cone won 20 ball games this year, but he had great run support. Only Tim Wakefield of the Boston Red Sox had more run support than he did per game. But David Cone knows how to pitch, and he is a winner. And let's take a look at the Yankee defense behind him. Shane Spencer in left field didn't make an error in the 9 games he started in left field. But the key to that outfield is Bernie Williams, the center fielder.
There is Spencer, who, when he homered in his first at-bat against Rick Helling the night before last, had at that moment hit 8 home runs in a 28 at-bats span of time. He used to say that was Ruthian. I guess now it's Maguirean. So he's back in the lineup with Raines as the DH.
Tom Goodwin is a big key for David Cone tonight, because if Goodwin gets on base, he can make some things happen.
Brocious in close at third. 1-1.
And the Rangers definitely need to make something happen early in this ball game. The longer this ball game goes and they're tied or behind, the more pressure starts to build up.
Cone gets ahead of him 1-2. Johnny Oates told us before the game that they had so little going in the first 2 games, so few men on base. He didn't have to put a sign on, wasn't able to put a sign on for anything in either of those 2 games. No steals, no hit and run, nothing. Some rainfall beginning now. Called strike 3. Cone still averages a strikeout per inning pitched.
Well, that shows how he tries to get left-handers out. He ends it up with the slider outside. It starts over the outside the corner and comes back for a strike. These are the fastballs he gets ahead with. Good curveball there. Now watch where this curveball starts for the strikeout. He started that ball off the plate outside, and it came over the middle of the plate. He started the first curveball over the middle of the plate, and it broke off the plate inside.
Switch hitter Mark McLemore, 1 for 7 in the first 2 games. Umbrellas sprouting around the ballpark. Some fans, not many, heading for cover. A little roller. Brocious was in close, still has to hurry. Bare hands and gets him.
Well, the reason he's able to make this play, Bob, is because he is in so tight. And McLemore doesn't butt that often. But you see how close he is in. That's the only reason he can make that play. Even with the bare hand, he barely gets him at first base. Great play there by Brocious, barehanded, and 1 step, and he gets rid of it with something on it. Nice stretch there by Tino at first base.
McLemore has been bothered by creaky knees. 2 years ago, he probably would have beaten that out.
A few years ago, I would have too, Bob. a few years ago.
Here's Rusty Greer, a .306 hitter for the season, 1 for 8 in this series. He's never had a postseason RBI in this year's division series or in '96 in the 4-game loss to the Yankees.
The thing that makes David Cone so tough is that he throws pitches from a lot of different angles. He'll throw some up on top, dunk, some 3/4, and some sidearm. And when he does that, he actually changes the trajectory of the pitch and makes his fastball that much better, his curveball that much better. Every pitch he throws, it becomes better because of the angles.
He walks Greer on 4 pitches. And now has to face Gonzalez with a man aboard. And Cone knows full well the kind of damage Gonzalez has done against him. In 31 career at-bats against David Cone, Gonzalez has 5 home runs.
I think part of the reason for that, Bob, is that Laredo slider, that sidearm slider that he throws, Gonzalez's arms are so long he can go out over the plate and get it.
Up and in for a ball. Lots of wind accompanying the rain. There's almost no chance we get this in without a delay of some kind. It's pouring now. Even with Gonzalez up, a lot of fans are fleeing. (2-0).
That's the slider that he wants to get him out with, and that's why he started him off with a fastball inside to keep him from going out over the plate. But he misses with the slider.
After 6 straight balls, a swinging strike by Gonzalez.
Well, this is what David Cone wants Juan Gonzalez to do, go out of the strike zone. Gonzalez can hit any pitch, any speed when it's in the strike zone. What you try to do is get him to chase pitches out of the strike zone. A lot of fastballs up and in and out of over the plate, or breaking balls off the plate outside.
Who walked at first with 2 down in the bottom of the first. No score. In the air to shallow center field. Williams in and Jeter out. Jeter takes it to complete the first. After 1, no score in Arlington. The rain has all but subsided now, and Bernie Williams steps back in. I don't think we've seen the last of it, though, Joe. I'm no meteorologist, but it does not look promising. Seeley gets ahead of him 0-2.
That's that great curveball that he has, and he throws it a lot of times after he gets ahead in the count. He used to throw it a lot of times early in the count and get behind. That's a great overhand curveball, straight down.
The 0-2 pitch, way outside. Williams, the league's leading hitter at .339, looking for his first hit in this series. Had some big moments for the Yankees in the '96 postseason, but hit only 118 in the division series loss to Cleveland a year ago. And down on strikes to open the second.
And you can see the difference in the 2 pitches. The big overhand curveball he tries to throw outside. Now this is the slider inside, and watch the difference. This is half of the curveball. Look at that. And you do not have as much time to recognize the pitch. On the curveball you have time to see the seams. On the slider you just do not have much time because the speed is so much faster. Good pitching there by Seeley.
Now Tino Martinez taking the ball. The Yankees' longest losing streak of the season was 4. They had 3 other streaks where they dropped 3 in a row. In the course of winning 114 and losing 48. They're now on a 9-game winning streak dating back to the end of the regular season.
And that guy there, I think, is the main reason. A lot of people don't give him a lot of credit. They say he has a great team, but he put together this team. He gets them to play like a great team.
Since the advent of the division series with the 1995 postseason, one team that was down 0-2 in the first round best-of-5 has come back to win. It was against the Yankees. It was the Mariners in '95. They dropped the first 2 at Yankee Stadium, won the next 3 at the Kingdome. And when the LCS was a best-of-5, it happened twice. The '82 Brewers did it to the Angels. The '84 Padres did it to the Cubs. 3-1 pitch. In the air to left. Greer coming in. Zeal going out from third, and it's in the seats. On all 3 occasions in baseball's postseason history, when a team down 0-2 came back to win, they had games 3, 4, and 5 at home. Now the format has been changed. So if there is a game 5 in this series, the Rangers will not be here. They'll go back to Yankee Stadium and face David Wells. Pitch. Hits solidly to left. Greer on the run. Over his head. One bounce against the wall, and Martinez will have a double.
Well, the only reason Greer had a shot at this is because he's left-handed. But he mistimes his jump, and the ball was hit so hard he felt like he didn't have time to go any deeper. Fastball moving away, and this is what Tino does so well. He goes with the pitch. Now watch him. Right here, he just mistimes his jump, and the ball bounces away. Right there, he gets up a little too early, but the ball hard, he wasn't able to gauge his jumping time.
There was no way that Joe Torre was going to sit Shane Spencer, not after what the kid did in game 2 and toward the end of the regular season. So he's in left, and Raines DHs, and it's Chili Davis who takes a seat. Raines is 10 for 24 lifetime against Seeley, so Torre wanted to get him in the lineup.
One of the reasons Raines hits Seeley so well is he likes the ball out over the plate. Seeley throws the curveball out there, the changeup, and his fastball kind of runs away. So everything is basically out where Raines likes the pitches.
Here's the 1-0. Curveball on the corner. You don't see as many pitchers these who throw that straight overhand curveball that has that up and down action, the way Bert Blyleven used to, Camilo Pascual, guys like that.
And the reason for that, Bob, is that it's harder to control the overhand curveball than it is the slider.
Seeley's got a good one. Up and away.
And the thing I like about an overhand curveball is it can get you 2 ways. It gets you with the break, but it also gets you with the speed. A great overhand curveball is just a great pitch if you can control it. And Seeley throws his at 2 or 3 different speeds, which makes it that much tougher.
Three balls and a strike to Tim Raines, who in his 20th year in the major leagues is still a useful player. Hit .290 for the Yanks in part-time duty.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that. Useful.
Meant it as a compliment.
I know. I said I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Didn't mean he was cleaning up around the clubhouse or anything.
I'm sure he will appreciate that.
The 3-1 pitch. Walked him. So now they have to contend with the legend in the making, Shane Spencer.
I've been looking forward to this matchup, Bob, because I want to see how Spencer handles Seeley's curveball and slider. You know, a lot of times a young guy comes up and they throw him a lot of fastballs, and he's hit all the fastballs. I want to see how he handles the breaking ball, because this is a situation where Seeley's going to really bear down on him and use his breaking pitches.
The comparisons have been made this week in the fashion of Roy Hobbs from The Natural or Shoeless Joe from Damn Yankees. He seemed to come out of nowhere. A 28th round pick of the Yankees, 8 years in the minors, 26-year-old rookie, up and down 4 times this year between New York and Columbus. Came to the club on August 31st for the 4th time, making him just eligible for the postseason. Then proceeded to hit .373 in the season's last month with 10 home runs, including 3 grand slams in a 9-day stretch. Seeley's 1-0 pitch. Popped into shallow center field. The wind playing with it a bit, but Goodwin comes in to take it.
Well, that's the curveball that he's going to see a lot of tonight, but I must admit he was right on that pitch. He wasn't really fooled by it. He just missed it. He just got underneath it. And anytime you get underneath the curveball, it tells you that your timing was right there. Watch this. Watch the timing. He's there. He just gets underneath it. And most hitters will hit the curveball on the ground, but when you're right on it, a lot of times you will go underneath it.
Have you ever seen anything quite like this? I mean, this is not somebody who everyone heard about, the way Darryl Strawberry, for example, when he first broke into the big leagues and everybody expected him to be phenomenal. This is a 26-year-old guy who all of a sudden has a month that any Hall of Famer would admire.
I've never seen anything like it, not for that long a period of time. You see guys get off to a good start their first couple of ball games, but then the pitchers start to throw them more curveballs, more changeups. They start changing speeds. A lot of times young players come up, they get locked in on the fastball because they're good fastball hitters. But here you have to adjust to everything.
The 0-1 to Brocious. Rolled foul. Spencer says his idol was Mickey Mantle. Now, when Mantle came up, everybody knew about him at age 19. Wait until you see this kid. And then he fulfilled the promise. Spencer got to meet Mantle in a minor league clubhouse a few years ago and still calls it one of his greatest thrills. Two on, 2 out. And an 0-2 pitch coming to Brocious. No score, top of the second. Misses away. Two and two. Well, if this is the last game the Rangers will play, these fans didn't come here to sit on their hands. Texas has been on the road for almost 2 weeks. Their last 7 games of the regular season, then the first 2 games in New York. And their fans are here to whoop it up, hoping they'll get to come back tomorrow. 2-2 pitch is popped back. Rodriguez may have a play and takes it right near the railing. No runs, a hit, a walk, and 2 are left. After 1.5, still no score. NBC Sports welcomes Total Sports to its online team for in-depth sports coverage. You can log on to msnbcsports.com for comprehensive total casts of every playoff game, including pitch-by-pitch updates, hitting charts, and real-time box scores. Total Sports, now part of the team at msnbcsports.com. David Cone back to work. And Will Clark will be the first man he faces.
And this is the first year that Will Clark has been healthy in quite a while. He's put up better numbers. He's pulled the ball more and hit more home runs.
He had that troublesome right elbow surgically repaired, and it restored quite a bit of his power. He topped 20 home runs and 100 RBIs for the first time since 1991. An 0 pitch. In there. Clark began his career as a great postseason hitter. He had a .489 career playoff and World Series average through his first 45 postseason at-bats. Remember how great he was for the Giants in the '87 LCS against the Cardinals, and then 2 years later against the Cubs, including the pennant-winning hit at Candlestick Park off Mitch Williams. But beginning with the World Series that year against the A's, and the division series for Texas 2 years ago, and the first 2 games of this series, as he rolls one toward Knobloch, who ranges to his right and throws him out. Clark does not have an RBI in his last 10 games plus 1 at-bat in this game in the postseason.
And we might broken toe on his right foot, and so he's not going to be much of a factor on the bases.
Pudge Rodriguez. Strike one from Cone, who's working on 5 days rest. This perhaps stands to reason with that surgically repaired shoulder, still tender. On 5 days rest, the last 4 months, his ERA is 1.5. On 4 days rest, it's more than 2 runs higher, 3.8, and he's working with long rest in this game. Rodriguez didn't like it as Hirschbeck gave Cone the corner, but Pudge, you better get used to it. It was like that with Durwood Merrill back at the plate in Game 2 at Yankee Stadium. This is a different crew now. They switch in the middle of the division series. This is the crew that had been working the Cleveland-Boston series. And Hirschbeck gives Cone a liberal interpretation of the strike zone there. Out of play.
Let's take a look at Pudge Rodriguez's spray chart. You can see that he hits most of his balls to right field, but he pulls the ball or goes down the line. And the reason for that is they fire him a lot of fastballs in. He will inside out the ball the other way, and he pulls the curveball.
Slow roller Martinez will take it himself. Rodriguez hustling down the line made it close.
So far, David Cone has been able to keep the ball down and get the ground balls that he wants in this ballpark.
This is not so much a record as it is an oddity, but you may have heard that Cone now is the guy with the longest gap between 20 victory seasons. He was 20-3 in a truly great season for the Mets in 1988. Always a big winner since, but never won 20 again until this year. Jim Cott previously held the distinction. 120 plus for the 66 Twins, then in 74 for the White Sox. Here's Lee Stevens, his first at bat of the series. Dangerous left-handed bat. One and one to him. He hit 20 home runs this year. Bounced over the mound. Knobloch. Low throw, and it gets by Martinez. It goes into the dugout, and Stevens is awarded second base.
This has been a big problem for Chuck Knobloch the entire season, especially early in the season. He had a lot of problems throwing, a la Steve Sachs, where he sets himself on his back foot. He had time enough to take the crow hop, but he didn't. And he kind of threw it right in the ground. See, right now he can take one step toward first base. He doesn't do that. And his arm's not strong enough to get the ball to first base. But he had plenty of time. Nice attempt there by Tino. As you see, he tried to knock it down.
Now Zeal with an RBI chance. Todd cuts and misses. Down and away, 1-1.
That Laredo slider. He drops down on the right-hander and throws that slider on the outside corner low and away. I mean, that is a tough pitch for a right-hander to hit. Dives straight down and away. Perfect pitch, knee high on over the outside corner.
Now that he's ahead of him, you might look for the splitter. Zeal pokes it into shallow right. O'Neill has a line on it and takes it. So the error by Knobloch doesn't hurt, and it's a scoreless game after 2. Jorge Posada caught game 1 with David Wells pitching, and if there is a game 4, Posada is scheduled to catch it. Girardi with a pop into shallow center. Goodwin closing ground, but even one of the fastest men in baseball can't get there. A little flare single for Girardi to start the 3rd as we go to Jim Gray.
All right, Bob, the field conditions are wet. Talked to the groundskeeper before the game, and then we had some rain during the game. It rained all day, very hard for several hours here before the game. It drains pretty well here because it's a new field, but it is wet and it is saturated. That's going to cause a lot of guys to either slip or there's going to be some slow play in the outfield. As for the infield, it was covered all day. But Derek Jeter, when he came back in from fielding here, said it's a little muddy and a little slick out there, and that may have been part of the reason why Martinez wasn't able to get that one out of the dirt. Bob?
Jim, thanks. Knobloch, who can handle the bat at the plate. Girardi, who runs well for a catcher at first. But remember who's behind the plate for Texas, Pudge Rodriguez. Inside for a ball. Zeal is in on the grass at 3rd.
Chuck Knobloch trying to go the other way. You can see him inside out the ball, trying to hit it to right field, trying to hit behind the runners. A big hole on the right side with Will Clark holding Girardi at first base.
The unmasked Rodriguez. Pudge will win his 7th consecutive Gold Glove this year. And why not? He threw out 56% of would-be base stealers and discouraged who knows how many more.
Well, he's discouraging the Yankees right here. I think this is a situation where if Girardi runs, it will be a hit and run. You're not going to try to steal off of Rodriguez.
Two-one pitch, rolled to short. Clayton shovels to McLemore, on to first, double play.
Excellent pitch there by Seeley. He saw that Knobloch was trying to hit the ball the other way, so he ran a fastball in on the hands, and Knobloch had no choice but to try to pull it. See right there, he tries to pull this one, so he hits the ground ball, the pitcher's best friend, 6-4-3, and that's as routine as you can get right there. Nice pitch by Seeley.
And now Jeter, who grounded out his first time. Ball strike. One and one. Seeley had one start this year against the Yankees. Lost it 6-4. Knobloch and Burst homered off him. Towards second, short hop by McLemore, but now he can't find it. And Jeter's aboard. Joe, you're shaking your head.
Well, I was trying to decide whether he was trying to catch it in the air, and if he wasn't, all he had to do was back up and block it. This ball's not hit that hard, so you have time to back up and block the ball, but I guess he was trying to catch it in the air, and he actually plays it into a base hit. I don't know how they're scoring it.
It is ruled a hit.
Yeah, well, he played it into a hit. He thought he could get it in the air, and he didn't. The ball wasn't hit that hard. I think he had time to back up and still, play it on the hop.
Jeter at first with 2 out. He swiped 30 this year. ball, 1 to O'Neill.
You see the grip, that's a 2-seam fastball grip unless he changes it, which is a sinker ball grip. And he threw a sinker. If you grab it with 2 seams, you usually throw a sinker, you turn the ball over. 4 seams across the seams is the riding fastball. And a lot of people throw their sliders or their curveballs, they don't even grab the seams with both fingers. And you see, this is what the pitcher will do until he decides what pitch he wants to throw.
But of course, he's got to change the grip in the glove at least sometimes. Otherwise, you pick it up and tip the hitter off.
Well, you would think so. He did then because that was a curveball. But see, he may throw his curveball and his sinker off the same grip. And you see there's the overhand curveball. It just stays high. See, some pitchers throw their sinker and their curveball off of the same grip, and their slider and their riding fastball off of a different grip.
Got the corner.
Well, he's doing a good job of keeping Paul O'Neill off balance. Every time he's gotten behind O'Neill, he has come back with a perfect pitch away, and O'Neill takes it. He went 1-0, and then he threw a perfect pitch knee high and away. He went 2-1 and dropped the same pitch on the outside corner. Got him out with a curveball in this situation last time.
Here's the 2-2. Full count every time Seeley gets 2 strikes on a Yankee hitter. They come to their feet.
He's only got 2 strikeouts. I think they're just showing their support for Seeley.
Jeter will be running. There he goes. A high chopper. Clark leaps to grab it. Seeley covers. And they're out of the 3rd. No runs, a couple of hits, a double play in the middle of it. 1 man left. Still no score. So that makes defense even more important, especially in the middle of the diamond.
And Johnny Oates says he's the best shortstop they've had here. Meaning range-wise and covering ground.
Bounced over the mound and into center field for a leadoff hit.
Well, there's more area up the middle than any place else on the infield. This ball's chopped right over David Cohn's head, and no chance for Jeter to run it down. And Clayton has the first base hit of the ball game for the Rangers.
That brings up Goodwin with Brocious inching in at 3rd. Shows the bunt, pulls back, takes a strike.
Well, your offense has not done anything in the first 2 ball games. If you're Johnny Oates, I think you have to do something to help that offense, to help jumpstart it. And maybe if it's a sacrifice to try to get ahead in this ball game, a hit and run or a straight steal, you have to do something to jumpstart this offense.
Clayton dives back. Closer this time. The way the pitching has been in this series, as Clayton gets back, you have to expect that Johnny Oates will play for the 1 run, even though it's the 3rd inning, even though he's at home, even though he has one of the most explosive lineups, at least through the regular season, in all of baseball. Goodwin bunts in front of the mound. Cohn looks at second, but takes the play at first. Almost pulled Martinez off the bag. Clayton to second on the sacrifice.
And if you're going to move the runner along, I like what they tried to do. He tried to beat that out for a base hit. Now watch, this is not your regular square round sacrifice. See, he's trying to drop this ball down the first baseline and beat it out. He didn't get it around. He bunted it back to Cone, but he still got the job done. But he didn't just give himself up. So I like that. You know, when you have a speedy guy at the bat, don't just give yourself up. You know, go ahead and try to beat it out for a base hit as he did there.
Yeah, he was trying to drag it, but couldn't quite get it toward the line. Now McLemore. Robbed of the hit on a nice play by Brocious at third base in the first. A ball and a strike to McLemore. Greer on deck. And then Gonzalez if the inning is prolonged. Up and in, 2-1. Texas looking for its first lead of the series. Rolled foul. Folks, you want baseball tomorrow? Well, you got it. If there's a game 4 in this series, ESPN has it at 1 Eastern time. Then it's Cleveland at Boston. Pete Sherrick's going to pitch for the Red Sox, even though they're down 2-1. They won't go to Pedro Martinez. They'll hold him back for a possible 5th game. Bartolo Colon pitches for Cleveland. We've got Maddox against Kerry Wood from Wrigley Field. And then late at night, back to ESPN, Padres and Astros. And a called strike 3. And speaking of the Padres and Astros, we're told that Kevin Brown is going to start game 3. Unusual scheduling in that series. A day off between games 1 and 2 and games 2 and 3. So Brown is able to pitch the first game and the third game. Randy Johnson, however, will be held back at least one more game, and Mike Hampton will pitch for Houston.
I think that's smart by the Astros.
Here's Greer. Check swing. It gets beyond Cone. Knobloch charges and throws him out. We played 3. No one's broken through yet. Baseball history has more than 5,000 strikeouts. And so when you do that, you get a statue. Nolan Ryan. Ernie Williams starts it in the 4th, still hitless in the series. Ryan's number, by the way, is the only one the Rangers franchise has retired. Number 34. I'm not sure about this, but he might have had his number retired by 3 franchises. The Angels, the Astros, and the Rangers.
You're correct.
Wasn't with the Mets long enough for them to do it.
Bernie Williams said the center field position at Yankee Stadium is a position of pride and tradition over the last 50 years. He said, but it also carries a big responsibility with it for following the steps of the Joe DiMaggio's and the Mickey Mantles.
2 balls and a strike. Fouled away. Chambliss, the hitting coach, with Shane Spencer, who apparently needs no coaching. Why break the spell? Whatever you're doing, kid, go back out and do it some more. Rolled to short. Here's Clayton. Williams can't break through so far in this series. Coming to NBC in 2 weeks.
From the producer of ER comes the next great American drama. Coming NBC Fridays in 2 weeks. Trinity.
That's Trinity in 2 weeks. NBC Fridays. Martinez double to left his first time up. For the record, Nolan Ryan's number with the Angels was 30, and it was 34 in both Houston and Texas. Two different numbers, 3 teams retiring. Seeley matching zeros with Cone into the 4th. Zeal back from third base. There's no play.
This is how the hitting instructor really helps a young player. They were sitting there talking before, and what Chambliss has probably told Spencer is that you've hit a fastball out of the ballpark, you got a base hit on a fastball, they're going to make sure that you hit some breaking balls tonight. And in the first inning, I think Spencer was looking for that breaking ball when he barely missed it and hit a fly ball to center field. We'll see how the rest of the day goes, but I think he will hit some breaking balls.
Pop to short. Now it's drifting toward third. Clayton moves in front of Zeal to take it.
That's what a hitting instructor really helps you with, more mental than just a physical approach to hitting. He will tell you, well, they got you out away last time, they're going to try you inside this time, or he will tell you how they're going to pitch you, because Chambliss has been around a long time and he knows the patterns that pitchers will try on young players, especially young players that have been successful. You continue to try to find a weakness, so you throw him a lot of different pitches.
The DH Raines fouls one to the screen. He walked his first time up. Another baseball note, Joe. Jim Leland leaving the Florida Marlins, and he'll entertain several offers before he decides where to go next. And the Marlins go back to John Bowles, who managed them briefly a couple of years ago before Leland came over from Pittsburgh. Bowles, who was their director of player development, becomes their manager for the 1998 season. One and one. And that makes some sense because they have a young team now. They had the fire sale. They're trying to build with prospects from within their very productive system, and Bowles knows all those prospects. Still, it's one more opportunity gone without a Chris Chambliss or a Davey Lopes or someone like that being considered.
Very good point, Bob.
The 1-2 pitch. Got him. Seeley makes quick work of the Yanks in the 4th. Texas fans wondering how much longer they'll have to wait for a moonshot from Gonzalez. There was an explosion waiting to happen. Has one hit in the series thus far, a Game 2 double. And there's the contrast. All but destroyed the Yankees 2 years ago. This year held in check. One and one. In '96. When the Yankees beat the Rangers 3-1, they came from behind in all 3 of their victories, and it was really the bullpen that was the story of that series. They allowed only 1 earned run in 19+ innings of relief work. In this series, it's been the starters. 1-2. First Wells, then Pettit. Nelson worked to a couple of hitters in Game 2. Rivera closed both games.
Well, Juan cannot afford to chase pitches out of the strike zone off of Cone. Cone's not going to throw him any more strikes than he has to. He just wants to get him to chase something out of the strike zone.
And he strikes him out. Gonzalez now 1 for 10 in the series.
Well, he starts him off with a slider for a strike on the first pitch. That's the best pitch he had to hit. Slider outside. Now to split. He chases that. Now here's another slider off the plate outside. That's beautiful pitching there by David Cone. The first pitch was the only pitch he had to hit, and he took that.
David's 3rd strikeout. Gonzalez still waiting to bust loose. Will Clark. Same is true of him. Toward the hole, but Knobloch gets there from the outfield grass. That's the second out. So Clark, like Gonzalez, now 1 for 10 in the series. Bats with the bases empty and 2 out on the 4th. Cone has allowed the Rangers only 1 hit. Third inning single by Royce Clayton.
And let's take a look at the scouting report for Ivan Rodriguez. Basically, he tries to hit everything to right field. We saw Cone try to jam him, the fastball in, but if you're going to be successful, try to make him pull the ball. Throw him a few more off-speed pitches. He takes the fastball and the slider the other way most of the time.
He's become a consistent 300 hitter. To go with his dazzling Gold Glove defense, has 15 to 20 home run power. This year, 21 of them. But what's sometimes overlooked is that he's a 40 double guy.
And that's important for a catcher or someone who doesn't run much, because that means that you're getting yourself in the scoring position immediately, or if there's a runner at first base, he can score on your double. So that's why doubles are important to people who do not run as well.
Chased the pitch outside and goes down swinging. It's Cone's 4th strikeout, and Pudge did him a favor on that one. With the exception of the first 2 games in Cleveland, throughout these divisional series, it's been pitching.
Well, and I think the reason for that, Bob, is because you're not facing the middle of the road pitchers as you do during the regular season. When you get to the playoffs, you're facing teams that have pretty good pitching, or they would not be here. And let's look at it this way. Even the Yankees, who destroyed most of the teams this year, they faced a 20-game winner, and they face a 19-game winner tonight, and Todd Stottlemyre pitched very well also. So you're not facing, like I say, the middle of the road guys. You're facing the top pitchers in the league, and that's true all around baseball. When you get to this point, you have the best 8 teams left, and they usually have the best pitching overall.
Not only do the teams with the better pitching staffs get in, as Spencer takes ball 2, but the staffs are compressed.
Right.
So Houston's going to see Kevin Brown twice in 3 games.
Right.
If Boston goes to 5 games with Cleveland, 40% of the starts will belong to Pedro Martinez. Got the corner, 2-1.
And we talked about how they're going to pitch Spencer, and unless they get behind him as he did there, they're going to try to stay away from the fastball.
He falls behind him, 3-1.
And this is where he's been dangerous. He has not missed the fastballs that he's seen in this series. So Seeley has to make a good pitch.
It is a fastball. It's bounced to third, and Zeal has it bounce off his chest. Fires a bullet and still gets it there in time.
Well, 2 things happen here. Cat-like quickness from Zeal after he misses the ball. Watch how he immediately finds it. He knows where it is right away, hustles over to get it. Then he fires a strike to first base. But the other part of this is it shows that Shane Spencer doesn't run very well. But again, just quickness there by Zeal, stays right on top of it, and he's able to retire Spencer.
And now Brocious fists one into shallow left. Clayton back, can't get it. A 1-out bloop single for the Yankee third baseman.
Well, he hit it off the fist. Everyone's pretty deep in the outfield. Clayton's the only one with a chance at this ball. And I mean, this is just a difficult play, especially with the wind moving it around. And he tries and can't come up with it. But good try there by Clayton. Showed a lot of range. He went way out into the outfield to get that ball.
Jose Cardinal is the Yankee coach at first. Willie Randolph, their coach, at third. Girardi, who can handle the bat, singled his first time up.
And the Yankees can use some help jump starting their offense too, Bob. They have not blown the Texas Ranger pitchers away. So these are situations where maybe Joe Torre might want to hit and run or try something. But that's why the Yankees are so good. They have a lot of different ways of beating you. They have speed. They can go from first to third on singles to the outfield. They can hit and run. They can do a lot of things to manufacture runs. Texas Rangers, by contrast, have to hit you to beat you. They do not have a lot of speed. They can't go from first to third on singles to the outfield. They do not run very well.
1-1.
Well, if you're Joe Torre, you're trying to wait and think, well, I need to get myself into a hit and run count. Maybe if he'd have missed with that pitch, 2-0 is a hit and run count. 2-1, 3-1. Those are hit and run counts.
Brocious isn't going. Sliced foul. Jim Gray's got some info for us. Jim.
All right, Bob, if you take a look at the grounds crew underneath the left field line, just went out there and they have a very sophisticated radar system. It shows that a storm is coming here in about 15 or 20 minutes. It looks like it'll be a short storm, high winds and a lot of rain. Should pass through pretty quickly. A tornado warning has once again been posted. Bob?
Thanks, Jim. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Brocious stays put, and another foul ball. Glancing at Willie Randolph once again. Maybe you can hear that wind whistling through the booth. Picked up by our microphones. The 1-2. Up high, Rodriguez. The runner and gets him. Brocious has been around long enough to know that Rodriguez loves to do that.
Well, and the worst thing, he goes in standing up, trying to stand up, going back. That's how you twist your ankle or you jam your knee. I mean, if you're caught out there, you should just dive back. He tried to go back standing up, and when your cleats hit on top of that rubber, you have a tendency to twist your ankle. Let's take a look here. Pudge just comes up and fires a strike. Now watch Brocious. See how far, I mean, that's just too far out with a guy like Rodriguez. But he should be diving. But see, he takes a long step there, and his foot hits the top of the bag, twists his ankle, and that's what happens. You see he's out anyway, as Will Clark hits him a little before he touches the bag. But you should be diving right there. I mean, if he dives back, I think he would have been safe. But you can see he's clearly out, and Will Clark helps him twist his ankle by hitting him right on the ankle. And there's Pudge. He says, I got another one.
What makes that happen isn't just the strength and accuracy of Rodriguez's arm. It's his great footwork and how quickly he can spring up out of the crouch and get rid of it.
And especially with a right-handed hitter up there, you always have to be alert.
Slow roller. Clayton comes in, and on the run, he pulls Clark off the bag, and Girardi is safe.
And that's the first time I've seen Royce Clayton kind of nonchalant a ball. He got there, and he just kind of felt like he had him, and he just flipped the ball, and that's when the ball will tail away on you. See right there? That's just kind of nonchalanting the throw over to first base. And when you do that, you throw sidearm, you don't get enough on it. Watch this, and the ball will tail away on you right there. That's just too lackadaisical a throw to first base. And you do not see him do that very often.
E6. Putting Girardi at first with 2 out. And bringing up Knobloch, who's had a tough night. He's committed an error, struck out, and grounded into a double play. Outside.
And one thing you can't do, Bob, against a good team like the Yankees is give them extra outs. You do that, and eventually they will hurt you. The more times you turn their batting order over, the more chances they have of scoring a run.
You better go up there to swing when John Hirschbeck is calling balls and strikes.
Well, Knobloch's very upset over that pitch, and see, that's a key pitch, because instead of being 2-0 and a hitter's pitch coming, it's 1-1, and Seeley can throw anything he wants.
A little pop into right field. Wind actually pushing it back a bit, and Gonzalez takes it. Halfway through, no score.
Toe on his right foot, and he said he broke it with one of those sliders that a right-hander threw him going down and in, and he hit the top of it, and it went right down on top of his toe. And I kind of laughed a little bit because McLemore was teasing him about it, and the next day he fouled one off of his toe.
And as they retape the damaged digit, Scott Brocious, who was a little bit slow coming out of the dugout, does remain in the game after he was shaken up trying to get back to first base. Rodriguez picked him off.
Well, they taped his ankle as well, Bob. And when you have a sprained ankle like he probably has now, it's okay at first as long as your body stays warm, but later as the ball game goes along, that ankle's going to tighten up a little bit on him.
Cone works to Lee Stevens as we move to the bottom of the fifth. 2 years ago, Stevens was the American Association MVP playing at Oklahoma City. Prior to that, he'd spent 2 seasons in Japan, playing for the Kintetsu Buffaloes. And of course, Joe, as you know, the premier Japanese baseball franchise is
the Giants.
No. The Nippon Ham Fighters.
Oh, the Ham Fighters.
Must be the Ham Fighters. The 1-2.
Well, I grew up in San Francisco area, and it was the Giants. Tokyo Giants. Yomiuri Giants or something.
There's 2 Giants, right?
Yeah,
in the league?
2. Yeah. That's why I thought they were the most famous.
Go figure. Fouled off, still 2-2.
I think there are 2 Ham Fighters, too. They spell it a little different, but I think there are.
Now, that's a long story. They're not really Ham Fighters.
Okay.
See, Nippon Ham is a company in Japan. So they're the Nippon Ham Fighters. Their nickname is the Fighters. This is key information in case you're ever on Jeopardy. The 2-2 pitch. Brocious coming in. Girardi off with the mask. It'll be Girardi. Stevens is retired to start the bottom of the fifth. Folks, tomorrow on NBC Sports, we have a double feature for you. First, the Basketball Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony, and among those inducted will be Larry Bird. That's at 1:30 Eastern Time. We'll show it at 3 o'clock on the West Coast. Then Notre Dame football, the Fighting Irish against Stanford.
I bet you didn't know that not only was Michael Jordan a baseball player, but so was Larry Bird. Played a lot of baseball. They hurt his thumb, and he stopped playing baseball. He was a first baseman.
Natural position for a guy who's 6'8", 6'9".
A lot of players questioning the umpires, and it doesn't always mean the umpires are not doing a good job. It just means that there's so much riding on every pitch that the players see things differently.
And you can bet Zeal saw that one differently than John Hirschbeck. He doesn't say anything, but he walks away.
Well, he said something on the first one, and now it's strike 2.
That one missed. Cone has struck out 4. He's allowed only 1 hit. The Yankees have 4 hits, but no runs off Seeley. A line drive to right, drops for a hit.
And that's one of the things that Todd Zeal normally does well. He will go the other way, and that's why he's a good hit and run man. This is a fastball away, and he finally goes that way with it. Cone had been pitching him away. So he takes his fastball over the outside part of the plate and lines it to right field for a base hit.
Still feels like summer weather here in Arlington. Temperatures got into the 90s today. Even though we're into October, obviously very muggy with all the rainfall. Clayton single to center his first time up. Zeal at first with 1 out. And a called strike.
Cone throws so many pitches from different angles that it's very difficult for a right-hander to get rhythm, you know, and to get into a rhythm against David Cone. And the reason that the different angles bother you is because you look for the pitch to come 3/4. Most of the time you look at the guy's right shoulder, and that's where the ball comes from. But when he drops down, it comes from a little lower position, and when he raises up, it comes from a higher position. So it's difficult to pick the ball up as quickly as you would like to.
Clayton down in the count 0-2, walks away.
And here's a breaking ball that he throws to Clayton. And I mean, you can just see that you don't pick the ball up if you're looking in a different spot. You have to, you really have to concentrate on where he releases the ball from. And like I said, that's difficult because most of the time you look at a guy's right shoulder and it comes out of there. Because you can't watch the ball when he's got it behind him. You always look for a spot for the ball to be released from. Look at an area.
Now when you're down 0-2, and Cone throws so many different pitches, can throw all of them for strikes at so many different arm angles, what the heck do you look for?
Well, when a good pitcher has you 0-2, you're really at his mercy. You become very defensive because he can throw the high fastball, he can throw the slider. I mean, he has so many options.
Off the outside edge. Tried to get him to chase it.
And I mentioned that, you know, most hitters look at a guy's right shoulder. I was talking to Tony Gwynn recently. He said he looks at the guy's bill of his cap and then moves over to where the ball is coming from. Then he moves over to the right shoulder.
Girardi stays in front of it, 2-2.
Girardi does a good job of keeping this ball in front of him. See, he tries to get his entire body in front of it. It's not about catching the ball. All you want to do is block it and keep it in front of you as he did there. Although when you watch Pudge Rodriguez, he bounces over there and he tries to catch the ball, and he usually does. But he also has his body in front of it in case he doesn't catch it cleanly.
Gets a piece of it. Still 2-2. Jerry Narron is the coach at third, flashing the signs. Ed Napoleon, their coach at first. One of the Ranger coaches in their dugout alongside Johnny Oates is the former Yankee Bucky Dent. And it's 20 years ago today since the home run at Fenway Park. Full count.
So now what do? You sit around for 4.5 innings. Now do you send the guy? There's Bucky Dent, famous home run against the Red Sox, but it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. You haven't been able to score any runs. Do you send the runner? Do you try to open up a hole someplace for Clayton? But if you do that, you risk a strikeout, throw him out situation.
He's going. Check swing foul.
And I agree with that because 2 things happen. When you send the runner, you open up a hole for the hitter, but you also make the hitter concentrate a little harder on making contact because he has to protect the runner. And I just think that if you sit around this long, you've got to make something happen because we're already in the bottom of the 5th inning. When you start to get to the 7th inning and it's an elimination game for you and you're still tied or behind, pressure really starts to build on your team.
Zeal takes off again, and Clayton spoils it.
And this time Jeter is covering at shortstop instead of Knobloch. The first time he went, Knobloch covered, and it opened up the hole on the right side. This time, because it's a fastball away, Jeter is covering. See, this pitch is a fastball away, so Jeter is covering because they don't figure he can pull the ball. You see, Knobloch didn't move. Now, if they change and they go inside, then Knobloch may cover. When you're in the middle of the infield, you cover according to where the pitch is supposed to be or what the pitch is. If the location is away, then the shortstop should cover, especially if it's a fastball. If it's a breaking ball, I would let the second baseman cover.
Seal goes again. Clayton pops it toward the right field line. O'Neill comes racing in and can't hold on to it.
Well, that's a tough play because you're quickly closing in on that wall there, and no matter how big you are, that wall is not going to move. Here's O'Neill. He does a great job of trying to get there, but he also knows that the wall is coming up right there, and it's just difficult to keep your concentration and focus on the ball and the wall as well. I mean, people say, well, he gets there and he's supposed to catch it. Yeah, but he's watching the ball, but his eyes also pick up that wall coming up very quickly.
No ruling yet. They could just call it no play and not charge him with an error, which is probably the fair thing to do.
I think that's the fair thing to do. It wasn't a routine play.
Zeal getting a workout at first. He goes again. Clayton swings and misses, and now they've got him hung up. Martinez running him back. Now the catcher, Girardi, is in the baseline, and finally he chases him down. And if you're scoring at home, wait till we come back and figure it out. It ends with 2. Sealy to Jeter, who lifts the first one to right field. The wind pushing it out a bit, all the way to the warning track, where Gonzalez takes it. That was barely a pop-up. The way the wind is blowing, it'll hurt a ball hit toward left or left center, but there's a jet stream going out toward right. The last strikeout throwout double play, which ended the Rangers' 5th, goes 2-6, 3-6, 2.
And the people say, well, he ran into a double play, and that's true, but that's the risk that you take. But I would rather try something than to continue to get beat the same way I have been beaten the first 2 ball games, and that's not scoring any runs. So you have to try to do something.
O'Neill's 0 for 2 tonight. He's grounded out twice. A strike.
And he has been excellent as far as pitching to Paul O'Neill and keeping him from pulling the ball. Every time he falls behind, he hits the outside corner with a good fastball moving away from O'Neill. And O'Neill is looking for something he can get up in that jet stream to right field.
He hits it in the air to deep left center. On the run is Goodwin along with Greer, and this ball clears it. Clears the wall in left center field. And I'm looking out at the flagpoles, and just before that pitch, the wind subsided.
There's no doubt that the wind did not hurt that ball as it was hurting the other balls hit out that way. It's a curve ball away, and Paul O'Neill is just a good hitter. He's a strong hitter. He's gotten Paul out twice on a curve ball away. Look at this. That ball's away, and he's going that way. You can see Paul knew he got it. Right over the target sign.
But just a few minutes earlier, I think that ball would have stayed in the ballpark.
I agree with you. It was hurting balls to left field earlier in this ball game.
The Yankees take a 1-0 lead on the O'Neill home run in the 6th. Ernie Williams. Rolled foul, 0-2.
And as I said earlier in this ballgame, Paul O'Neill's the most underrated player in this game. And I mean, he does things to help you win throughout the season. You know, sometimes he doesn't look as happy as he should because when he makes an out, he kills himself. But I mean, he's an excellent player and he contributes a lot to this Yankee ball club.
Seeley's 1-2 pitch. Williams now 0 for 10 in this series. Caught looking.
Well, this is a fastball away. He has kept Bernie Williams off balance with a lot of off-speed curveballs and fastballs away. And Williams thought this ball was outside.
And it was.
And Bernie has been frustrated with Hirschback the entire ball game. He has questioned a lot of his calls tonight.
4th strikeout for Seeley. Martinez has doubled and popped out. The Yankees have gone in front here in the 6th on an opposite field home run by Paul O'Neill. Seeley ahead of Tino 0-2.
Paul O'Neill and Bernie Williams. The Yankee power. And the other one's at the plate.
A ball and 2 strikes. Martinez led the Yankees with 28 home runs and 123 RBIs this year. Full count now. Foul ball.
Let's take a look at the spray chart for Tino Martinez and what it shows you that he loves to hit in Yankee Stadium. And if you're a left-handed hitter, you should be a pull hitter hitting in Yankee Stadium because that's where the short porch is, and he takes advantage of it.
Another 3-2 pitch and another foul ball. Two out, nobody on, and a run home in the 6th. A big chopper into the hole. Clayton fires from the grass but has no chance.
And because he pulls the ball most of the time, your shortstop's going to be over near the bag at second base. And that's just a tough play for Clayton to try to throw a left-handed hitter out from the outfield. You can't throw a left-handed hitter out from this deep on the outfield grass. I don't care what kind of arm you have, left-handed hitter's going to beat that ball out.
Dick Bosman, the pitching coach, making his way to the mound.
And you can see Seeley shaking his head and say, yes, I'm okay.
Well, we have a chance. We mentioned Bucky Dent's big moment 20 years ago today. October 2nd, 1978, the home run off Mike Torres at Fenway Park. It was the turning point in the one-game divisional playoff. That was when there were straight pennant races, no wild cards. A legit pennant race that will live in baseball lore, decided by the Dent home run. Crabtree, who worked well in Game 2, up in the bullpen once again. And there are several people in uniform tonight who were part of that game. Willie Randolph, the Yankee third base coach. Chris Chambliss, Yankee hitting coach. Dent now with the Rangers. And of course the Yoda of the Yankee dugout. Joe Torre's confidant Don Zimmer was the Red Sox manager back in '78. Called strike to Raines. A half century in professional baseball for Don Zimmer.
Don Zimmer's kind of like me. He's never had a real job.
And you like it that way, don't you?
Love it.
The wind beginning to whip up again. Bit of debris sailing around the field. As Jim Gray told us, they're looking for a storm to blow through here any minute. And a tornado watch remains in effect. Two and one. Oates told us before the game the only thing he said to his team was, we can't win 3 games tonight. Just try to get back into it tonight. Line to left, in for a hit. Greer trying to cut it off before it gets to the corner. Racing to third is Martinez. They get the ball back in, and he has to stop there on the double by Raines.
We talked earlier in the ballgame why Tim Raines was so successful against Aaron Seeley, and that's, as I said, Tim Raines liked the ball out over the plate so he can get his arms extended, go the other way if he wants. And watch where this pitch is. Right out there away, and that's why Tim Raines hits Aaron Seeley so much. I would think that Aaron would try to change since he's hit him so well, but Tim Raines likes the ball out over the plate.
With 2 outs, Greer may have saved a run by getting to this ball on the track before it could hit the wall.
Well, if the ball would have gone all the way to the wall, they would have definitely tried to score him. And then they would have had to come up with a perfect relay.
So now Spencer. Flied out, grounded out. On the first pitch, a long drive to left. Greer back, looking up. He's done it again. Pretty soon the devil is going to come back and claim his part of the deal. And 1998's Joe Hardy will have to go back to being whoever he was before he made that deal with the devil. But for now, he's a home run hitting machine.
Well, I said before the ballgame they're going to make him hit breaking balls. And he threw a curveball the first time up, and he just barely missed it. He got underneath it. Here's another curveball. They're going to make him hit it. Only this one hangs right there in the middle of the plate, and he gets under this one, but he drives it to left field for a home run. And that's what Chris Chambliss had probably told him before the game. They're going to try to make you hit breaking balls. Just think back in this entire ball game, he's hit fastballs for home runs. Now they're going to find out if he can hit a curveball. And yes, he can hit a curveball if you do not get it down.
On my calculations, he's now hit 9 home runs in his last 33 at-bats. Man. Hit to short. Clayton takes care of Brocious. But the way the Yankee pitching has been, and with Rivera waiting in the bullpen, 4 runs look awfully big. Still raining pretty hard. Looks like it'll make the seats, and it does. Seeley took a shutout into the 6th. O'Neill spoiled that, and then Spencer applied the crush it. Two and two.
There's a brain trust of the Yankees. Mel Stottlemyre, pitching coach. Don Zimmer, bench coach. I read a quote from Mel Stottlemyre Sr. about Joe Torre. He says he has more one-on-one meetings than any manager he's ever been around because he does not let a problem turn into a problem. He talks to the players about it, and he solves it before it becomes a big problem.
Called strike 3.
Good pitch there by David Cone. He started that ball off the plate inside and tailed it back over the inside corner.
That's Cone's 6th strikeout. We're in the 6th inning.
Watch this. This pitch is inside. You can see the movement right there. It moves right back over the inside corner. They're going to call it for a while with 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
This is not an official game in terms of the Yankees' lead because they took it in the top half of the inning until the home team completes its at-bats in the bottom half. Now, in a playoff or World Series game, they're not going to end the game if they can possibly avoid it without all 9 innings being played. But technically, if it had to be stopped here, the score reverts to the last completed inning.
So it would be 0-0.
Correct. And it's coming down in sheets right now. If this were a regular season game, the Yankees would be in real jeopardy of having their 4-0 lead washed out. Given the fact that it's a postseason game, they will wait as long as humanly possible before calling this game off. And the forecast says that this rain, although very heavy, is expected to move through fairly quickly. Jim Gray is downstairs, hopefully out of the rain. Go ahead, Jim.
All right, thank you, Bob. I'm here with David Wells. David, with this rain delay, tell us what it does to a pitcher's rhythm.
Well, you know, it can, depending on how long the delay is, you know, it really makes a pitcher up. In some cases, other cases are different. But like for me, you know, I have to have a constant hot pack on, get some heat rubbed on there, and just try to keep it loose. Maybe throw some balls into the net, and you know, just try to stay as loose as possible. Because you know, as a tennisman, you go out there, your uniform's wet and everything, so you got to go out there. You got to try to stay as dry as possible.
And what does David do in an instance like this? You've been around him through these rain delays.
Well, him and I are pretty similar when it comes to that. We just try to stay focused, try to stay warm, and just move around. I know Coney, he stiffens up from time to time because of our problems that he's had.
With a 4-run lead, do you look at that as being big enough when something like this happens, or does it re-energize another team, break the momentum? What goes on?
Well, it could go either way. It all depends, and depending on how long the delay is, you know, hopefully it won't be too long. Then Coney can go back out there and he can resume play. But if not, then you got to go to the bullpen and get somebody who's fresh. You know, in the 6th inning with 2 outs, you know, it looks comfortable, but with this ball club over there, you can't count them out.
David, we haven't talked about it yet, but everybody on the back of your hat, if you can take it off for just a moment and show everybody you got a 39. Daryl's back in the hospital tonight getting ready for his surgery, and that's how you guys are honoring him.
Well, you know, I think it's appropriate. Daryl has been a big part of our organization for the last few years, and this year as well. He's been very, very key home runs for us this year. So, you know, Daryl, if you're listening, you know, we love you, and you know, this one's for you, and hopefully, you know, you feel the vibes we do.
David, thank you for your time.
All right, you're welcome.
Let's go back upstairs to Bob Costas.
Well, play has been delayed amid a torrential downpour in the bottom of the 6th. The Yankees lead the series 2-0, and going for the sweep, they lead Game 3 of the best-of-5 4-0 on the homers by O'Neill and Spencer, with 2 out in the Ranger 6th. Resume as we move past 12:20 Central Time. The Yankees lead 4-0 with 2 out in the bottom of the 6th. They got all 4 of their runs in the top half of this inning. With Aaron Seeley on the mound for Texas, Paul O'Neill goes to the opposite field for a solo home run. It makes it 1-0. Later they put 2 men on base, and up came the remarkable Shane Spencer. The curveball from Seeley driven over the wall and left for a 3-run home run. A 4-0 New York lead. David Cone took that lead and the shutout into the bottom half of the inning. Got 2 outs, and then a torrential downpour began. It didn't stop for more than 3 hours. The game would have been suspended had it been a regular season game. They certainly would not have waited this long. But given the fact that it's a playoff game, they have waited past midnight and eventually will resume. Graham Lloyd is on the mound warming up. They're not going to send David Cone back out, and we assume that Aaron Seeley will not come back out for Texas either. When we move to the 7th inning, Tim Crabtree was warming up just before the rain delay. So Graham Lloyd will be on the mound when we resume, and now we go downstairs to Jim Gray.
All right, Bob. Well, the grounds crew here at the ballpark has done simply a remarkable job. As you said, it rained for over 3 hours. It rained this afternoon for 2 or 3 hours. That's 6 hours of extreme dampness and wetness on the field. It is not saturated. It is pretty dry. I just walked out there. They spread a lot of sand in the infield. This is one of the best draining systems in the entire all of baseball, any park throughout the land. It is drained very well. The field is in excellent condition as they resume here. Bob.
Jim, thanks very much. Rusty Greer walks to the plate. He was the hitter when the rains came. If the Yankees hold on to this lead, David Cone stands to be the winning pitcher. But he's done after 5 2/3. During which he struck out 6, walked 1, and allowed only 2 hits. Strike to Greer.
And I think one of the reasons they're bringing Graham Lloyd in is so he can get his feet wet, because
so to speak.
Well, if he wouldn't pitch in this ball game and the Yankees going to win, it would be over a week between appearances, and then going into the LCS they would need him. So what he tries to do here is probably have him pitch to one hitter, Rusty Greer, if he can get him out, and the next inning they'll take him out.
And that is his specialty, to work to left-handed hitters. To shortstop, Jeter. After a rain delay of 3 hours and 16 minutes, the 6th inning is finally official. The Yankees, in pursuit of the sweep, lead it 4-0.
And even though Seeley leaves the ball game trailing 4-0, he actually pitched well. He kept his team in it long enough, gave them some opportunities to score, and they didn't do that. He kept them in the ball game for 6 innings.
0-1 pitch, bounce toward third. Zeal coming in and getting Girardi.
Nice play by Todd Zeal. He gets a good jump on him immediately. He starts in, and this is the way I like to see this play made. He grabs it with his glove to make sure one step, and he still gets rid of it at the same time that it takes if you barehand it. Nice play there by Zeal.
How difficult is this for all these players? You gear yourself up for a game. It's a playoff game. Now you sit around the clubhouse for more than 3 hours. You go back to work with so much at stake. Knobloch with a fly ball to right, and Gonzalez takes it.
If it could help anyone, I think it could help Texas, because they have a chance to go in and sit back and relax a little bit and talk about, well, you know, they had 10 outs to go. Let's use those 10 outs to the best of our ability. Let's everybody go out there, try to get on base. Not everyone go out and try to hit a 3-run homer, because you can't do it unless there's someone on base. But the Yankees, I think it may, you know, it could hurt them. It could break their momentum, because they definitely had some momentum going there after the 6th inning.
Jeter tries to drop a bunt. Is it my imagination, or are the Yankees seemingly in a hurry?
Well, it must be.
First pitch swinging. I mean, there could be more rain behind this. You never know.
That's true. And I mean, here's Jeter with 2 outs trying to bunt, which is not something that you advise. With 2 outs, you try to get an extra base hit.
You also don't advise letting the
ball hit your finger. Well, he had his hand so far up the bat.
0-2. On the 15th of August at Yankee Stadium, the Yankees blew a 4-0 lead against Texas, but in that game, Texas was down 4-0 after 1 inning and came back to win 16-5. They trailed 4-0 here in a game that could end their season, top of the 7th. Jeter strikes out swinging, and after 6½, it remains 4-0 Yanks. David Cone started. He to see him seated next to Andy Pettitte in the Yankee dugout. Graham Lloyd came in, retired the only hitter he faced, and now it's Jeff Nelson to face Gonzalez, Clark, and Rodriguez in the bottom of the 7th.
And David Cone lived up to his billing as a big game pitcher. Only 2 base hits in 5 2/3. Didn't give up a run.
Gonzalez has only a Game 2 double so far in this division series. 45 homers and 157 RBIs to go with a .318 batting average for the season. Probably the favorite to be the American League MVP.
And it's interesting because he chased Hack Wilson's record of 190 for most of the season. But I remember a quote I read from Frank Thomas about middle of the season. And Frank Thomas said it would be easier to hit 62 home runs, this was before Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa did it, than it is to drive in 190 runs, because he said if you're an RBI man, you may go 2 or 3 weeks at a time when they won't pitch to you with runners in scoring position.
1-1 pitch. Fouled off. Coming into this game, the Rangers' big 4 were 4 for 31. Now, if my math is correct, 4 for 39. But Greer actually made an out to end the last inning, so he's 0 for 3, not 0 for 2, so they're 4 for 40. Hop back of second. Jeter out to take it. Gonzalez wearing an 0 for 3 collar. Tomorrow night at the special time of 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, we switch to the National League Division Series. It'll be the Braves and the Cubs. Greg Maddux will go against Kerry Wood. Intriguing pitching pairing from Wrigley Field. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central Time. Tomorrow night on NBC. Or later tonight, technically. Clark has twice grounded to second. He didn't go around. 2-0.
It's a slider from Jeff Nelson. Will Clark started and then he stopped. Checked his swing in time. Now he has a 2-ball, no strike count.
Make it 3-0. In the top of this inning, Crabtree threw 6 pitches, and the Yankees swung at every one of them. Perhaps trying to move things along before more rain arrives.
But you better not try too quickly. 4 runs, not an impossible deficit with the Texas Rangers, because they do have a lot of good bats in their lineup. They haven't been producing the first 2 ball games, but you never know when they're going to awaken.
And Clark draws a 1-out walk. Torrey with his pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre. Mike Stanton, who has been a very effective postseason pitcher throughout his career, getting loose in the New York bullpen. Rodriguez is grounded out and struck out. Time is called. Sometime during the course of a 3-hour and 16-minute rain delay, Most of this crowd departed, but many hardy souls remain. That's in there. Got to believe many of those people in the lower deck didn't start out holding box seat tickets, but under the circumstances, they're allowed to fill in wherever they feel like. On the other hand, Bob Uecker remains in his original location. The 0-1 pitch. Called strike 2.
Well, Pudge Rodriguez thinks this ball is inside. It breaks around the plate, as you can see him move away. Looks like a pretty good pitch from the overhead camera.
Clark with a modest lead at first. Nelson works to Rodriguez and gets him swinging. Rodriguez now 1 for 10 in the series, and he struck out twice tonight. Although the Rangers' season, barring a rally, is drawing to a close, there's a certain atmosphere of giddiness in the ballpark now, at least for those who remain. Having sat through a 3-hour and 16-minute rain delay, Lee Stevens taps one foul. The Rangers drew 2.9 million fans this year in the course of winning the American League West. And tonight's game was, of course, sold out at the start. 0-2.
Well, Justin Nelson is very important to the Yankees if they're to go deep into the playoffs and possibly to the World Series. I mean, he's the guy that they're going to use as part of that late inning relief corps to get to Mariano Rivera.
Still 0-2 to Stevens, who reached on an odd-block error and then fouled out.
As long as he stays healthy, he has been able to produce. He's had a bad back this year, but as long as his back stays healthy, he's going to really be a key for the Yankees.
Well, if Nelson is throwing the ball well, as he has the last couple of weeks, and with Mike Stanton, they have the middlemen to get them to Rivera. Throw Mendoza in there. Their middle relief is uncommonly strong. Not to mention the fact that in the postseason, sometimes your 4th and 5th starters can become relievers for you. And that's from a very deep Yankee rotation. Two out, Clark at first. A ball and 2 strikes to Stevens. The Yankees on the verge of a sweep. And then they'd await the winner of the Cleveland-Boston series. The Indians took a 2-1 lead in that one by winning 4-3 yesterday at Fenway Park. Martinez behind Clark. And ball 2 to Stevens. Speaking of those starters who can be used in relief, Hideki Arabu is up and throwing in the Yankee bullpen. Now to play once more. He doesn't appear to me to be throwing. He appears to be sitting. 2-2 pitch. Struck him out. Nelson takes care of the Rangers in the 7th. Texas is down to 6 outs.
It's interesting, Paul O'Neill was looking for pitches to pull the entire evening off of Seeley, and then finally in the 6th inning he took a curveball the other way for a home run.
Paul has 3 hits in the series, all of them for extra bases, a pair of doubles, and the homer Joe just mentioned. 2-1 the count. If the Yankees win this, the ALCS starts Tuesday at Yankee Stadium, with New York's pitching in very tidy order at that point. Chopper to the right side and through by the diving McLemore. A leadoff single for O'Neill.
You see Will Clark way off the line, but that ball is hit right between he and McLemore. McLemore makes a dive, but he cannot come up with it. Good try there by McLemore. But O'Neill has really been trying to pull the ball all evening, and he finally got a pitch that he could pull.
Now the suddenly struggling Bernie Williams. 2 for 2 on the season's last day to win the batting title at .339 over Mo Vaughn. But 0 for 10 in this series. 2 strikeouts tonight. Slams his bat down, thought he had a pitch he could handle.
Well, he gets the fastball. Actually, that ball got on top of him. He did have a good pitch to hit, but he was late.
Popped wide of third, out of play. I don't know if there's ever been a playoff game, any kind of postseason game, where the home team's season ended, as Texas's might here, and it happened in front of so few witnesses. Those few who remain are trying to make some noise now, but this is an odd atmosphere. 0-2 pitch. This is 1-2. Crabtree's next one, the runner goes, and Williams fouls it away. Lots of baseball tomorrow. Or today, actually. If Texas comes back to win this game, then there will be a game 4. You'll see it on ESPN. The other games are certain to be played, weather permitting. Cleveland at Boston on Fox. We'll be at Wrigley Field. Maddox against Wood. And then at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, Mike Hampton will pitch for Houston, and Kevin Brown will pitch for the second time in 3 games in that series, because of the odd scheduling with 2 off days. He's able to come back and do it. He'll pitch for San Diego. Possible double play ball. McLemore to Clayton and on to Clark. And Williams grounds into a 4-6-3.
Nice turn at second by McLemore and Clayton. Good feed, perfect feed. And Will Clark slides down the line to help Clayton out on the throw. Bernie Williams really struggling. You're right. It's 0 for 4 again tonight.
So Tino Martinez bats with the bases empty. He's 2 for 3, a double and an infield single. Ball 1 from Crabtree. Zeal, Clayton, and Goodwin are the scheduled hitters in the Texas A's. In the air to deep left, down the line, Greer in pursuit and foul. As ever, very composed. One of the most genial men in baseball. His team might be overmatched in this series, though. They finished 26 games back of the Yankees in the standings, though not in the same division. 26 games back if you add it up. They lost 8 of 11 head-to-head against them, and now may be swept 3 straight in the division series.
There are a lot of people predicting the Yankees would not lose any games in the playoffs before they get to the World Series. We'll have to wait and see if that happens, but there have been those type of predictions made. In fact, before the season started, George Steinbrenner said, what's the record? Can we go 162-0?
He says that before every season, doesn't he?
I think he meant it this time.
Another chance for McLemore. That takes care of Martinez and the Yankees in the 8th. Rolling on to the wee hours. Still 4-0 New York. And to play left field as we move to the bottom of the 8th. Todd Zeal is flied out and singled. Could be his last at-bat in a season that began for him with the Dodgers. Saw him wear a Marlin uniform for a while and then wind up in the playoffs with Texas. His 7th team since 1995. Lots of stickers on his bag. Breaking ball high. In there. Stanton the lefty. Rivera the righty closer. Nelson gets ahead of Zeal 1-2. If the Yankees wrap it up here, they'll be able to exhale. The division series can really be a crapshoot. And especially, Johnny Oates was saying this in the clubhouse before tonight's game, especially for a team like the Yankees. He said, this format is really more unfair to a team like the Yankees than to us. They're the guys who won 114 games and now are exposed to real jeopardy in a best 3 out of 5 where anything can happen. It looks like the Yankees are going to get through that unscathed. And then move into the LCS, a truer test in a best of 7.
Well, that's true, Bob, but I think if you're the best team, you know, you're going to have to prove it one way or the other. I mean, whether you play 4 out of 7 or 3 out of 5, you still have to prove it, because in the past.
Hit into center field. Williams can't get there. A leadoff single for Zeal, who had a good at-bat.
Actually, the league championship series were always 3 out of 5 before.
And you remember what happened in '73 to your team, the Reds, a superior team,
right,
to a Met club that was barely over 500 and somehow beat you and got to the World Series.
Well, they played better than we did in those 5 games. But I understand what you're saying, but if we made all these series 4 out of 7, then we may not ever get the World Series finished.
Clayton is singled and struck out into a double play. Strike 1. Of course, even in a best of 7, it's baseball, the sport where in a short series of games the lesser team has a better chance of upsetting the superior team than in any other team sport. It's just the nature of the game.
Exactly, and that's why I said it doesn't matter. They used to have 2 out of 3 the first round, then 3 out of 5. I mean, now there's 4 out of 7 for the league championship series. Doesn't matter. A short series, anyone can win. I mean, you can have a player get hot. And if you use my team as an example, the 1972 Reds against the Oakland Athletics. Gene Tennis gets hot, and they win. And they were not a better team either, but they won, and it got them on the road to 3 straight world championships. But Gene Tennis won that series by himself.
A ball and 2 strikes.
Slider from Nelson. He wanted this pitch just off the plate outside. Nelson has thrown a tremendous amount of sliders here, both to left-handers and right-handers.
Bouncer. Nelson can't get it, but Jeter can. Steps on the bag and completes the double play. So they're better off, the Yankees are, that it went through.
This is kind of a perfect double play for the shortstop, just 6'3". Nelson cannot reach it near the bag. Jeter just steps on the bag and throws to first in one motion. Perfect ground ball for a double play.
So the Rangers might have thought they had something going when Zeal opened the inning with a hit. Those hopes quickly dashed as Clayton hits into the double play. Now Goodwin bats with the bases empty. Some say he's the fastest man in baseball. Fresno State product, who was part of the United States Olympic team in 1988 in Seoul. Led the team with 38 stolen bases. If you work strange hours, came home, took a nap, just woke up. We're not in the 24th inning or anything like that. We had a 3-hour-plus rain delay. We're in the 8th. And in the 2nd, we'll be in the 9th. Knobloch throws Goodwin out. Yankees closing in on a sweep, leading 4-0. 8 complete.
Series game is brought to you by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile dealers. By the Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family. By Adidas. And by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
John Wetland saved 42 games this year for the Rangers. They haven't had a lead in this series, so this is the first time they've given him the ball. He'll get an inning of work in the top half of the 9th against his former team. Only Tom Gordon of the Red Sox had more saves in the American League this year. A ball and a strike to Tim Raines, whose walk struck out and doubled. He's the DH tonight. Chad Curtis, who replaced Shane Spencer at left, is on deck. Line softly to short. Clayton takes it. Go back a couple of years. Wetland was in Yankee pinstripes. And he saved all 4 of their victories in the World Series. This is the last out. Game 6 at Yankee Stadium. Charlie Hayes squeezes it, and the celebration is on. Curtis hit .243 for the Yankees this year. 10 homers, 56 RBIs, threw in 21 stolen bases. If it ends here for the Rangers, they still have a lot to be proud of. They had a great September, overtaking the Angels, beat them 5 times head-to-head down the stretch when they had to, twice here, 3 times in Anaheim. Doug Melvin, their GM, made some good moves, picking up Stottlemyre, Clayton, and Zeal. Rodriguez continues to sparkle. Gonzalez might be the MVP. Helling won 20 games and Seeley 19. Wetland had another big year out of the bullpen. They led the league in batting, and they were second in runs scored to the Yankees. But no team in the American League combines as many strengths as New York does.
Well, the point you're making is that they have something to look forward to next year with those players. Of course, they have to try to sign Clayton, Stottlemyre, and Zeal. But I think what they've really gained is Helling and Seeley. Now the confidence that those 2 pitchers will have going into next season.
And a walk to Curtis.
The confidence that they will have going into next season, I think, will really help the entire staff to know that they have 2 guys capable of winning 20 games coming out of spring training.
Johnny Oates knows he's about to see Mariano Rivera. And the trapdoor is about to be opened on his season. Ushered out of the playoffs in 3 straight. Brocious is 1 for 3. Counting the playoffs, the Yankees are 4-1 when leading after 8. They lead here 4-0.
Scott Brocious had a horrible year last year in Oakland. Came to the Yankees, and now he's hit .300, drove in 98 runs for the season. And part of that is because last year he hit from an open stance, he said, and it took him the entire season trying to adjust to it. But now he's gone back to a square stance, and he's hit .300. I mean, look at those numbers. Just fantastic numbers. And hitting down in the order to be able to drive in 98 runs. You see he's in a square stance now where he had an open stance last year. Open meaning his left foot was pointed more toward third base. And that's a square stance where you just square your feet off, keep your shoulders square, and go after the baseball.
Wetland's 1-2 pitch is high. As we mentioned the other night, Brocious had a big year, but it might be his only year in New York. He's a free agent, and they have a very good third base prospect who tore it up at Columbus this year, Mike Lowell. Curtis runs, and Brocious fouls it off.
Well, with this season, he's assured himself of having a lot of suitors in case they do not want to sign him here in New York.
Always a good idea to put up the numbers in your walk year.
You're right.
See if Curtis is on the move again. Another 2-2 pitch. Not going. Full count. McLemore, Greer, and Gonzalez are the first 3 hitters up in the bottom of the 9th. If they get something going, Clark and Rodriguez will be waiting. He goes on the 3-2 pitch. Brocious skies it to right. Gonzalez backs up to take it, and Curtis retreats to first.
I think Joe Torre is hitting running there and doing things just to try to keep them from being stagnant here as they go to the 9th inning.
In the Yankee locker room, a little protection for the players' belongings in anticipation of the celebration, but I would think this celebration would be muted. After all, there are 2 more steps. The LCS and the World Series. This is a team that won 114. They were expected to do this, at least in round 1. Plus, the way this thing is going, they might be too fatigued to pop the corks. You're looking forward to that flight to Chicago, aren't you, pal? That should be a treat.
I'm looking forward to watching Greg Maddux and Kerry Woods and Sammy Sosa.
Well, that will be terrific.
Yes.
But, man, I'd like to see your itinerary the past few days between ESPN and NBC.
I don't think you really want to see it. I know I don't want to look at it again.
0-2 to Girardi, who singled, reached on an error, and grounded out.
I must admit you have had a much easier schedule. You just come in here and do 3 games and get to go relax again.
You got to pace yourself, you know. You don't want to burn out early. There goes Curtis. Here's the throw from Rodriguez. Into center field, but Curtis will stay put. Clayton hustled after him.
Good job by Royce Clayton to back up on that play. Wetland gives you time to run. He doesn't really hold the runners, but neither do many of the
Did this ball hit Wetland? He ducks. Yeah, it hit him in the back.
Well, he didn't get low enough, obviously.
I guess.
Well, I would think that you'd always get low if Pudge Rodriguez is throwing it.
If it had bounced straight to McLemore and they got Curtis, does Wetland get an assist?
Yes.
2-2. Now run this through for me. Monday you were at Wrigley for Giants Cubs, right?
Well, start Sunday I was at Houston for Houston Cubs on the final day of the season.
Then back to Wrigley on Monday.
Yeah.
Then
Back
Tuesday.
to Houston on Tuesday. New York on Wednesday with you. Thursday in Houston. And here we are Friday. And tomorrow we're in Chicago. Well, later today we're in Chicago. And then who knows, Sunday. And maybe even Monday. And then Tuesday we're in New York.
Back enough clothes?
No. I had some sent to me in New York, but that may not even hold out. New York if they win.
The 3-2 pitch, and we'll do it again.
Joe Torre and Don Zimmer and Mel Stottlemyre don't seem too excited, do they?
Subdued would be the appropriate description.
So that's probably going to set the tone for their celebration. Not much going on there.
3 wise men in the Yankee dugout. Wetland throws the fastball by Girardi, And we move to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Back to Arlington after this. And to hold a team as powerful as the Texas Rangers to 1 run in 26 innings is just remarkable.
Yeah, Bob, the Yankees are so good, they're going to expose a lot of weaknesses on a lot of teams along the way when they play them 2 or 3 days in a row, when they play a series. And I think what they've exposed here with the Texas Rangers is that they really do not have much offense at the top of their batting order if Gonzalez and those guys aren't hitting the ball out of the ballpark. I mean, if you take a look at, you know, the top Goodwin, they've had McLemore there, Roberto Kelly, some good players, but they can be pitched to. And it's obvious that the Yankees have the pitching to be able to pitch to just about any lineup in this league. And they're going to expose a lot of weaknesses along the way. You watch, you're going to see some teams that you thought were much better than they are, and the Yankees are going to expose it. I actually thought the Texas Rangers, and it's not to say that this is over, but I mean, it looks very dreary for them at this point. They haven't been able to score but 1 run in 26 innings. You have Mariano Rivera on the mound. Doesn't look good for them.
Rivera saved the first 2 games. This is not a save situation with the Yankees in front 4-0. The Yankees themselves have scored only 9 runs in this series, and they got absolutely nothing from Bernie Williams. But it appears they didn't need it. McLemore's 0 for 3. Looking ahead, the Yankees were 7-4 against Cleveland this year, the team that beat them in the divisional series last year. They were 7-5 against the Red Sox. 2-0. Rivera quickly falls behind 3-0.
If you're the Texas Rangers and you're down 4-0 tonight, all you can hope for is to bring the tying run to the plate. That should be your first objective, just to bring the tying run to the plate.
He walks him on 4 pitches. Brings up Greer. 1 for 10 in the series. And as Rivera misses with another one, Girardi pays a visit to the mound.
You know, a couple of years ago when Rivera came in, he would just reach back, throw the fastball, and let it go. Now I see him throwing a few cut fastballs, even sinking the ball every once in a while. He doesn't just reach back and overpower anyone anymore. He's pitching a little bit more now than he did before.
Stoudemire's visit was brief. Sits back down, stopwatch in hand. And it's 2-0.
Well, at least he threw that ball. Every other ball he was throwing a cutter or a sinker. That was his straight fastball. He was just an overpowering fastball there.
Greer takes a strike.
A slider down and in.
Greer swung over it, 2-2. Gonzalez is on deck, and then Clark. Bouncing ball, Martinez has it. McLemore to second on the unassisted putout. 1 out of the 9th.
If you're the Yankees, you do not try for a double play there. You will take the out. You will trade bases for outs at this point. All you want to do is get 2 more outs.
Rivera set to work to Gonzalez, who was twice popped to short, and he struck out. Takes the ball. That one got the corner.
One thing you see from the Rangers is they're trying to get the tying run to the plate. They're all taking a pitch. Taking a strike, actually.
And here's the 1-1. Up high and inside. The Yankees were more than 20 games better than everybody else in the American League. Foul back by Gonzalez. If, and this is a huge if, because there's a lot of baseball to be played, if they make it to the World Series and their opponent is Atlanta, something that's been overlooked with everything else that's happened in baseball this year, the Braves won 106, and they are the team of the decade. What a matchup that would be, and what a true test for both teams. 2-2 pitch in the air, right side. O'Neill over for a look, but it's well into the seats. As we mentioned earlier, a 7-5 edge over the Red Sox. They won 7 out of 11 against the Indians. Center field. Ranging into right center is Bernie Williams, and the Yankees are 1 out away. McLemore tags and moves up to third. Here, the Yankee plan is to charter back to New York tomorrow. Get a good night's sleep here. Ball 1 to Clark.
Sounds like a good idea.
Option may not be available to us. We've got to get to Chicago. Clark has grounded out twice and walked. 1-1. Ground ball to second. Knobloch. The Yankees sweep. It took them 3 games and parts of 4 days. But they take the Texas Rangers 3-0. Allowing them 1 run in the 3-game series. Shane Spencer, suddenly the man of the moment. Up and down between Columbus and New York 4 times this year. His 4th call-up came on August 31st, barely making him eligible for postseason play. Homers in both games in which he played in this series. Season ending abruptly for Pudge Rodriguez. Another great season for him. Gold Glove defense and a .321 batting average. But the Rangers are done and the Yankees move on. Tonight's Chevrolet player of the game is David Cone, the winning pitcher. whose night was cut short by the long rain delay. But while he was in there, you see what he did. Allowed only 2 hits, struck out 6, walked 1. A 20-game win.